Give me the argument, the best argument you know, for the power of cinema.
Welcome everybody to Peliculas with the Bros. My name is Adrian,
My name is Ivan.
and we are back and in full effect. Welcome. What's up, bro?
Nothing much.
Ivan, this is a podcast.
It is.
Let's get one thing straight right now. This is a podcast.
It is.
I was gonna go Jamaican patois accent,
A
but
little racist.
I don't think that's racist.
A little culture vulturist.
No, that neither.
What is
Technically, under the terms, yes, it's a cultural appropriation,
it? Uh-huh.
but
Do you believe in cultural appropriation?
no,
You racist.
that can be a thing.
Yeah. It's like a different type of segregation. Like being against it. Yeah.
Right. It's like you're so about it
Uh-huh.
that you took it over, and now we're mad about it.
It's like a circle or something. Like it went around and then we went back to
Yeah.
segregating, going back in circles.
So weird. Ivan, this is a podcast called Peliculas with the Bros. It's a podcast where you and I talk about movies that we like, movies that we love. And currently we're doing a miniseries on the filmography of the great director.
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
Ivan, we did about 5 movies so far. The last movie we did was silent film. And today we're going to tackle another film by the great Mel Brooks. And what film is that, Ivan?
High anxiety.
High Anxiety. Yes.
Hmm.
High Anxiety.
Hmm.
I hope all of you are doing well before I start this. Shout out to all the listeners, all the viewers that we have out there. Ivan, how do you feel about the people that are watching us?
I don't like them.
Why?
Because they have bad taste.
Got him. It's weird. Cause you sort of expect people to watch something that you put out.
Isn't that a bit narcissistic?
Yes, it is. You jump to the point too quick. Like
Oh.
you would expect. I guess I would expect people to watch, but then it's like there's so much things out there.
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell, and how the hell is anyone gonna watch
I
this?
think it's like a good humbling experience,
Yeah.
and everyone needs it. Because I think, I don't know about everyone, but a lot of people are like, I'm the tippy top, and I should, in everything I do, I should probably get to that peak in everything. Because that's how you are when you're like a kid. Like if you work your hardest, you get 4.0s, and that's the peak.
Yep.
And that's not realistic after high school or after college, I guess.
I was listening to the Joe Budden podcast, and he was saying that he's like talking about the come up of his podcast, and he said by episode like 150, I was just like, am I ever gonna have any money from this? And I was like, okay, we're good.
Dang. Jesus.
If he couldn't get and it's not saying that he's like a big guy or anything. Like
Yeah.
he wasn't like the biggest artist. Of course he had like a couple hits and then a decent career, underground career. But if someone that has any kind of following can't get a podcast off the ground with 150, I mean, we're gonna need at least 2,000, right?
Got the cameras.
I think it's like one of the things that will help, which I've thought about too, is like reaching out to other podcasts, like smaller ones, obviously, not like Joe Rogan. I mean, I'm sure he'll love to have me on, right, Rogan? But smaller podcasts where I can guest host. Like, oh, we're doing a movie. We see you like doing movies. And then it's like, oh, if you like this guy, if you like this loser, listen to his podcast, Peliculas with the Bros.
I think you're right, but we also need to get like a groove or something. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I would have to watch all of Joe Budden's podcast to see when he had it. I'm
Right.
sure it took him a while. I don't know if
Right.
he got at like 50 and then he was just doing it, or it took like 300 for him to be like, okay, I understand what I have to do.
Yeah. You need to find your voice.
Yeah.
Because when we first started, we were just like, Bitcoin, huh? You're like, yep. I'm like,
I was perfect. I don't know about you.
but now we have like now we haven't found our voice technically, but we've how do you say it? Like we're sort of accustomed to this.
It's like that every day you grow like 0.001%.
Yes.
We're at 1% right now.
We finally reached 1%.
Yeah.
Speaking of growth and doing things repeatedly and finding your groove, Mel Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's done enough films now at this point.
Quit.
It's 1977.
Mm-hmm.
He's done enough films where he knows what to do.
Mm-hmm.
He knows his lane.
Mm-hmm.
And he's finding his groove.
Mm-hmm.
The movie he makes is High Anxiety. It was released in 1977. Let's look at the top 10 films of 1977 just to get a glimpse of the landscape during that time. At number 10, we have Annie Hall, a movie that, if you watch it today, you might get blackballed because it's made by
Racist.
Woody Allen.
Oh.
Did we ever talk about Woody Allen?
Off and on. I don't know if we had like a expose.
Do you know what happened?
He married his like granddaughter.
They came out with a documentary on HBO talking about that part.
Okay.
But they also talked about his alleged sexual abuse on his adopted daughter, who was 5 years old at the time. And then, like a year later, he married that lady, who was his. It wasn't adopted. It was just like he was with the lady who the daughter was adopted to.
Yeah.
But he knew her since she was like 12.
No.
And then he's like, technically, she was never my daughter. That's such a...
Yeah. You can't rely on the law to judge your morals, you know? Like, even if they were together at, like, she's 18, like...
Oh, yeah.
That's legal.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
12 to 18.
But then they also did, like, an expose of, like, well, the nanny... Not the nanny. The housekeeper said that she saw them in his bachelor pad or his pad in New York when she was, like, 16 and 17. But it only came out until she was, like, 18.
Yeah. No.
And,
no.
But the thing about it is he's a acclaimed director.
All right.
And that at that time when that happened in the 90s, early 90s, even after that, he was able to make a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
With actors and famous actors. Like our girl Black Widow.
I mean, a lot. Like, still. Right?
And then the actors were like, well, he never did anything wrong. But now that this came out, they're like, okay, he did something wrong.
It's their careers. Like, in any job, you're going to be like, I need to move up. I'm not that big. Like, I'm not George Clooney yet. I can't say these things.
That's the bad thing about humans, right?
Yeah. They have to work up to getting that status.
That, but the things we will do to get that status.
Oh, yeah.
We'll turn a blind eye. Is that the right word? The right phrase?
Yeah.
Turn a blind eye to a guy obviously in the wrong.
Yeah.
At number 10, Annie Hall. At number 9, oh God, never heard of it. At number 8, The Spy Who Loved Me. James Bond. Number 7, The Deep. Number 6, A Bridge Too Far. Number 5, The Goodbye Girl. Still haven't heard of these movies. Number 4, Saturday Night Fever. 1977. John Travolta was doing his thing right here. It's a long time ago. Word on the street is that our dad used to dress like John Travolta.
I believe it.
Me too. I mean, I've seen my dad.
Me too.
I believe it. Number 3, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Been meaning to watch it.
Never watched it? It's interesting. We'll talk about it. Number 2, a guy who we talked about in the last podcast due to his star status, Smokey and the Bandit.
Paul Newman.
Nope. What's that guy? Manly guy, sex symbol.
Sean Connery.
It's close. He's like the European version of this American guy.
You know who you're talking about, but
So we had James Caan, right?
yeah.
Paul Newman. Come on, Ivan, let's go. And Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
Burt Reynolds, guys. Okay, Burt Reynolds. Number 2. Number 1, Ivan, you're going to have to guess this. This is literally something you should get.
The Godfather, Part 2.
We've said that like in 1974. It's 1977.
Part 3.
It's a movie that you know. Ivan, you know.
Rocky 2.
It would go on to foster love and great things in our heart, and then just let us down.
Fast and Furious.
1977. I'll give you a clue. More than I've already given you. We saw this movie. We saw a sequel of this movie
Willy Wonka.
in the past. It came out in 2019.
Blade Runner.
2019.
Ah, shit.
2019 December.
Okay.
Sequel.
I don't know.
Probably in the top three
It's already
highest
bad enough. Like
top 3 highest grossing franchises of all time.
Avatar.
You don't even want to guess correctly?
I don't know.
The director of this movie made the movie American Graffiti.
Scorsese?
Oh my god.
I don't know.
You're just busting under pressure.
Gladiator.
Star Wars. Yeah. You feel that? You feel that going through your body?
I was thinking of American Gangster.
I know. You didn't hear what I said. All right. Number 1, Star Wars.
Which
That
one?
just gives you a feeling of what kind of time we're in. Where Star Wars just came out.
Not good
That's so crazy. I would have loved to be one of the first
to watch it.
million people to watch Star Wars in the theaters.
It is kind of weird because we're growing up with pure sequels while like the last 3 generations were like original movies. Like they
Yeah.
had the first ones. So it must have been different to see like a new thing.
Yeah.
And you really could judge on your own. Like these days, if it's not like tied to something else, yeah, it's probably not good, you know?
Oh, man. That is a thing I feel a lot. Like something new, I'm like, trash. Most likely trash.
Yeah.
What was like that? I can't think of it. But I know like Black Panther. I was like, it's another Marvel movie. Then everyone's like, Wakanda Forever. And I was like, all right, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay. I see why they liked it so much. But the topic today is High Anxiety, which came out in 1977, along with all these films. We'll talk about this movie and much more right after this quick commercial break. The premise of this film. Dr. Richard Harpo Thorndike, what a name, becomes the new doctor at the Psychotic Neurotic Institute for the Very, Very Nervous. He begins to notice unusual patient cases and odd behavior by the staff at the institute, but it isn't until he is confronted by a patient's daughter, Victoria Brisbane, that he realizes that the staff of the institute is holding patients far longer than they should. Can Dr. Thorndike save the day? With a cast of Mel Brooks, again starring in this film, 2 in a row, as Dr. Richard Harpo Thorndike, Madeline Kahn as Victoria Brisbane, Clarice Leachman as Nurse Charlotte Diesel, Harvey Korman as Dr. Charles Montague, Ron Carey as Brophy, Dick Van Patten as Dr. Philip Wentworth, and Howard Morris as Professor Victor Littleman. Littleman. Got that. Love it. Ivan, first time watching this movie?
Yes, sir.
We've said that a lot, huh?
Yes, sir.
Like first time watching this. Yep, it's the first time watching it. What'd you think going into this movie? What were your aspirations for our boy Melly? What's the nickname for our boy Melly?
Melly Brookie.
Melly Brookie.
I've been trying to. I think for this director specifically, it's best if I read up a bit before the movie
Oh, nice.
because not a lot, just like
No,
general.
like library and books and autobiographies.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Because he does a lot of parodies, and I need to know what he's parodying so I could laugh more.
I want to laugh more.
So I read like it was about a spoof on Alfred Hitchcock.
Yes.
Like, we watched one of those.
We watched one of those.
So this will be hilarious.
We know all about Alfred Hitchcock. We watched one of his 30 films, right?
Exactly. And I was like, okay, I get it. And I watched it.
And after watching it, what was during not after, during the watching process of the film,
Mm-hmm.
what was the sensations coursing through your body?
I don't know. I liked it. It wasn't like gut busting. I laughed a little more than a silent movie.
Yeah.
Silent film. Because it was a little more relevant, I felt.
Mhm.
But it was good. It was a solid flick.
It was. I think it was a definite upgrade over silent movie. Like, clearly, like,
Yeah.
you can just feel the boost
Mm-hmm.
that dialogue gives it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow, Melly Brookie was sort of a risk taker for even trying silent movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a difficult feat, and he did okay. But yeah, I think this is a definite upgrade over silent movie. I do like this time watching it. I don't know if I did it last time with silent movie, but for this time watching High Anxiety, I went into it with like ready to have fun, and it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
I like the premise. I like the satire it's going for Hitchcock, Alfredi Hitchcock. Hitchcock. This movie more than silent film too. I feel the satire.
Yeah.
Like,
I think silent movie was a little bit too like, look what we're doing. Like, we're so funny.
too cute.
Yeah. But this one was a little subtler. Like, not obviously subtler, but like it's just a parody.
Right.
Where the last one was like a parody, like in our face.
Uh-huh.
So I like this more.
And the subject of Hitchcock, he dedicated this movie to Hitchcock, like
Mhm.
it says it in the opening sequence, and he worked with Hitchcock to like sort of get some of the gist, the satires pointed out. He worked with I think it was might be hacking this, but he worked with the what is it? What's the guy that does the film work? The camera work? Cinematographer. Not the cinematographer. Is it?
Might be. Like frame shots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm forgetting my lexicon already. The cinematographer for his films to make sure it felt like the editing, the look, the tension. He wanted to get all that, but with a comedy on the mind.
Smart.
He also he's working with the same group of writers again. We didn't talk about in the last film, but in the last film he worked with the same writers he worked with this time. Ron Clark, Rudy DeLuca, Barry Levinson. They were all either screenwriters or like comedic screenwriters. Where Barry Levinson went on to become a successful director. He made Rain Man. You've heard of that film with Cruise? Tommy Cruise. So I think he's finding, like we were talking about, he found his niche. He's even acting in this film again. And this movie comes 1 year after silent movie, like immediately after. So I think the studios are just like, yeah, do what you want, and he probably makes films pretty cheap, and he knows what to make. He has his crew, and he's acting in it, so he doesn't have to do too much negotiating in the sense of like, hey, what's his name, Gene Wilder, act this way. No, he already knows what he wants. And I think Gene was gonna play Mel Brooks' part, but he had a scheduling conflict. But what do you think as Mel as an actor? Is he anything eye opening?
Nah, he's good. I think because he knows his stuff, it makes it easier for him to be like funny when it needs to be funny. Like you could hire, I don't know, like Tom Cruise with this, and there's a chance it couldn't be funny because Tom doesn't understand like the structure of the joke or whatever. But he wrote it or helped write it, so he knows what points to hit. You know.
After seeing a couple Mel Brooks films, I see the line of influence between him and Taiki Waititi.
What?
Because I think Waititi is like a satirist too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Satirist?
I don't know, but he made my brain hurt.
Who's sort of in the same vein as Mel, where he's like super goofy.
Yeah, I see it. Like something happened, and they react like, "Oh, that was." Like they react like I'm thinking of Korg, the rock monster in Thor.
Yeah.
Dark World. Like he had a lot of Mel Brookie sort of dialogue.
Yeah.
Where it was like silly, like reacting to things literally or things like that.
Right.
And I see that.
His comedic sensibility is weird, where it's like it's not hilarious, but it's inner hilarious. It's like restrained hilarity.
Like not a punchline, it's just funny moment.
Yeah, like even him and when he was in Bounty Mandalorian as a robot, that was funny. And the episode he directed in that movie, in that show, where I think it was like the showdown where they go fight whatever his name is in the desert. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And then the banter between the two stormtroopers. It's like, don't hit him. Don't hit Baby Yoda. Like just the little things he does pretty easily, but it's extremely hard.
Yes.
Like I'm obviously struggling here trying to describe it.
It's not like slapsticky. It's not.
No.
Like a straight up joke. It's just something funny happens.
It's the dialogue that's hilarious, but they're not even trying to make it like slapstick.
Yeah, it's just naturally funny.
Yeah. Waititi's next movie is what?
Thor.
Love and was it Thor? Love and Rock?
Thunder.
Love and Thunder, with Portman becoming Thor.
Probably.
Well, in the comics, whoever picks up the thing becomes Thor. Mjolnir.
Yeah.
I was reading a Thor comic book the other day where this random mechanic just picked up the hammer, and he like donned the suit, but it customized to look like him. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I wonder what like
dog.
Yeah, exactly. Or I wonder what it would look like on Hulk or just like any random person. Like imagine Spider-Man,
Iron Man.
Oh,
just gives them like a little.
But that didn't happen in
What?
Avengers when Captain America picked it up.
That's different. They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna put in the time.
We would have lost our mind if like Captain America was like,
like
powering up. Oh,
ding.
We would have died right there.
Yeah.
And we would have been laughed at for dying.
I think it was. It's better though, because if they did that, then they would have to like do it again eventually.
Yeah. It's like one of those things. Like we've grown up watching Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see someone going to Super Saiyan 2, you're like, yes, but I want more now. Like they're gonna get to a point. Because I was reading the another comic book where Doctor Strange was like, yeah, Doctor Strange gave up being the Doctor and became uh God of Time
Mm-hmm.
instead of like the Sorcerer of Time. So he like graduated to that level, so he got extra strong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh god. So that means like there's always gonna be something like that,
Yeah.
like the Dragon Ball Z complex of like, what happens when
Getting
you reach your peak level?
stronger.
You just get stronger.
That's tough too. Like if they get too strong, like Iron Man, he had like a water based armor. Like it was like all bugs or what's it called?
Oh, nanobots.
Yeah, and it just grew on him.
Yeah.
He could just get bigger. At that point, he could just make like a giant titan destroying stuff.
Mecha.
And they'll probably do that like eventually, like with whoever's the next Iron Man.
Everything revolves around Marvel, doesn't it?
Scary.
Genius. Suspense movies, Ivan.
Mm.
You said we've watched the Hitchcock movie before.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was that?
Psycho?
Did you see elements of Psycho in this film?
Yeah. There's a shower scene. It's like
The shower scene.
It was a little funny. And he's like dead on the floor.
We'll talk about that. But yeah, so he references like at least 5 Hitchcock films.
Yeah.
Vertigo, Birds, Psycho. It is interesting that like, what would someone think about the shower scene if they didn't watch Psycho?
Yeah.
Like we just see the bellman going crazy and say, "Is this what you want?" And obviously it's absurd,
Yeah.
which can be funny, but add the layer of knowing Psycho.
Yeah. I think it would have been funny, but I don't think it relies too much on a reference because it is like absurd.
Right.
So it's like this guy's just crazy. Like he finally got the newspaper. It's funny sort of thing, but not.
Right. But it helps.
Yeah.
Definitely helps.
Probably been funnier if we saw like the other 4 movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. But who wants to do that?
Not us.
Not us. I also enjoyed the change of scenery in this film.
Yeah.
Like, I like going to the mental hospital, obviously, but I like them going to San Francisco, and that hotel was beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
at least for the time. Gave it a different feel, like a city vibe,
Yeah.
and I like that. One thing I wanted to talk about is the state of comedy right now compared to that time. That's something we'll be talking about after this short break, like how I did that.
No.
I want to see how good I can get at those kind of things. Segues. I did a good one earlier where you're like finding niche. I was like, speaking of finding niche.
Well, it's like what do you call it? Improv.
Yeah. The key would be me setting you up so good to set me up.
That's a little
With you not even knowing. Like I know you're gonna say something. I'm like, oh, and then lay the joke right there.
possible. Yeah.
I need to work on that. That's the next goal.
I think just like focusing like whatever I say, think of like different references to like the links you could go to segue. I say but I'm like but scooter segue. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's basically manipulation.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. So looking at the films for the past 2 years, it was sort of difficult because it's 2021. We're in what month? April.
Indeed.
Movie theaters are still basically closed. And then last year, movie theaters were almost completely closed. So it was a sort of weird time for movies coming out. So I looked back to the year of 2019 to see the movies, the comedic films that were coming out. And I wanted to see basically what kind of comedy films were coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because when I type in comedy films from 2019, it gives me movies. It gives me a lot of movies. And most of the movies it gave me were not comedic films. They were movies with comedy in it.
Yeah.
Like, this is an action movie, but there's comedy in it.
Yeah.
Like, it gave me Knives Out and stuff like that. I'm like, well, that's not what I'm looking for. So I was looking at other films that were, like, specifically comedy, and there's not that many.
Yeah.
And so there's Long Shot. Have you heard of Long Shot? Or it's with Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron.
Oh, yeah. But that was like a romantic comedy, huh?
Romantic comedy, yep.
Gross.
There was Good Boys.
Yes, I heard about that.
Did you watch it?
No.
And there was Booksmart, which was like teen comedy with two girls.
I want to watch that, but
all that to say is they're not making comedies at all. Less, or like not. They're not even making. I want to say they're not making comedies like this, but they're not even making comedies.
mm-hmm.
And then ones they do, I was looking at other ones too for that year, and it's like movies you never heard about that never even came out in theaters or not even on Netflix. They're just like no names. I think there's a definite lack, like a big, empty, juicy bucket. But I wonder if that bucket's there because a lot of the comedy that's happening right now is in podcasts. What I mean by that is there's a bunch of, like, I would say out of the top 100 comedians in the world or in America, 75% of them have podcasts.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, and they've, from what I've heard, they're not in love with like the film industry because they say it's like boring, and they have to play under certain rules. I wonder if that's sort of being replaced with that podcast boom.
Yeah, I mean, there's also comedy TV. I think it's still doing well.
That's true.
Not as much as before, I think, but it's still doing well.
Right.
But I think film or comedies just don't really make money too, like straight comedies. People want the action, so they always have to do action comedy, romantic comedy.
Right. Like Bruce Almighty.
Yeah.
That's like a big one.
The dramedy.
Is it a dramedy?
A little bit.
Or is it?
It's a little more comedy than.
Is it a camera? Comma. It was a comma.
It's dramedy.
It was a coma.
Dramedy. It was a coma?
It was a coma. So do you have to go big? I guess it's like Marvel.
What do you mean?
Like, you have to make a Marvel movie to make it.
Yeah. I think people are also scared to be funny because it's like the culture we have now where people misinterpret jokes like horribly because they think it's like racist or
yes,
like Chappelle's show. I'm sure it'd be doing well today, but it is doing well today. But
yeah,
a new comedy like that would have a lot of news outlets saying like they did this, made fun of this,
right?
And it's just not worth the headache of explaining like, no, this joke is that, this and that in a movie.
Now, when you say Chappelle's show, it immediately made me compare Chappelle's show to Blazing Saddles.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very similar.
Yeah.
And I think those pieces of art still work today because a black person made it, quote unquote, even though Mel Brooks made Blazing Saddles. Like, Richard was behind it prior. Like, I wonder if that's what, I'm not saying this right, but is that what people want? Like, only if you live this life can you talk about this life. Like, only if you're Mexican can you make the Casa de Padre, the movie that Will Ferrell made, where he's like acting like a Mexican guy. Remember that film that no one watched?
Well, like Nacho Libre, I don't think anyone was Mexican besides like the actors. I don't think the director was Mexican. Jack
Right.
Black wasn't.
Right.
And that was like the Mexican anthem movie.
He was so good at being Mexican. Like the
I
most.
thought he was like not Jack Black when I was a kid and just like some
Yeah,
Mexican
yeah.
dude. It's just kind of crazy.
He should be in like so many movies.
I think he's just somewhat retired.
Yeah, I know.
Like just super picky unless it's super funny.
But I feel like he should be as big as anyone.
I think he could be, but he doesn't care anymore in a good way.
Okay. Like he doesn't really want that.
Yeah, like he has a family.
That's good.
I see him on TikTok and he's just like doing whatever,
Yeah.
jumping in pools with his kids.
Yeah.
I was like, he's happy.
That is the way you should live, right?
Yeah.
Why do I want someone to be bigger than they are? They're happy, right?
Yeah. It's a little what's the word? Selfish.
It's stupid.
Well, because we want him to entertain us more.
Yeah, that
Like,
yeah.
dance, monkey dance.
Well,
But not so horribly.
I would like all his movies to be great,
Yeah.
which I think you can't really say.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my biggest gripe because he made that one movie where he's like a giant, right?
Yeah.
What is
Never
it?
watched Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah, you watched it?
No.
And I when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch that. But then the reviews started coming out. I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't watch it.
I wasn't even interested.
Well, I was interested because it was him.
Yeah.
Where were we going? Comedies.
Comedy. Say the comedy. Comedy's dead.
But I
Podcasts.
that is something I do think that I think comedy is dead in the film aspect because a big aspect because of the podcast boom.
I think it's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but we could live with it because there's still TV, and I'd rather a funny show over one funny movie because I could rewatch that over and over again. And if they want to do their podcast, whatever, like that's their own thing.
Like that, I've laughed a lot with podcasts,
Right.
but then you grow out of it. Like there's one that I would watch all the time, Fighter and the Kid, and then I stopped watching it because I'm like, oh, I know these guys already so well that it's like the things they say aren't as funny.
Yeah.
And then I moved to another podcast. I'm like, oh, these guys are hilarious. They're even better, but I'm gonna get tired of them too.
You know, like the beats of their humor.
Yeah.
And with like hundreds and hundreds of episodes, you're
Yep.
gonna learn them.
You're gonna expect them, and then yep.
And it's tough to be new at being funny
Yeah.
because you have like your style of
Yes.
humor. You'd have to like consciously be like, okay, I've run this joke into the ground.
Yeah.
But if you're still making your millions of dollars, why change?
Right.
And people aren't really self-aware enough to be like, I need to upgrade my humor. And how do you even do that? Like, how do you be funnier?
It's hard because like the thing about podcasting is that it's supposed to be a more natural version of you,
Mm-hmm.
and the natural version of you is actually someone who's pretty basic, most likely. They're not like a complex beast that has different kinds of comedy or humor. Like we all love Chappelle, but I'm sure if we did a podcast, we're like, oh, well, we know a lot more about Chappelle now, and he's actually a lot like I think his podcast hits so well is because you don't hear about him in any other kind of format.
Yeah.
And his ideas are so like well formed by the time you hear him in comedic form.
Well, like Bill Burr is like his whole personality is being like funny 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But like you watch his stand-up, you watch his podcast, it's like the same thing.
Right.
In different ways or like just subtle ways. But maybe it just waters it down because now I don't really care about Bill Burr at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like he's still funny, but like I remember watching his last stand-up, and I felt like I've seen it in a million different ways already,
Right.
and that's tough to overcome.
I don't like there hasn't been a stand-up that I watched that I've liked in years.
Yeah, like I have comedians I like, but none of them have really released anything. They're all doing
Right.
podcasts. And when they do one, they're not like, in a way, they're like, they get a little narcissistic or they have like an ego at some point, like the biggest comedians when they do podcasts, because it's hard not to get one when you're just talking and everyone's like listening to you.
Yeah.
And whatever you say is just like gold.
Yeah.
Because like your fan base will love it no matter what. So in a way, it's like poisonous to themselves.
But that's like everything, right?
What do you mean?
Basketball, if you're like a great player.
Well, yeah.
Singer, if you're a great rapper.
But I think podcasts, like for comedy, it's like it speeds up that ego process.
Interesting. That's an interesting take. I never really thought about that. I do I don't listen to Joe Rogan anymore. Like I look at his guests, and he has new guests and some that he's never even thought about before. Like he had Demi Lovato the other day, and like before I would think, oh, I would like to hear a conversation between them two, but I already know what they're gonna say.
Yeah. It sucks. Like I've been finding more things like I could predict what will happen.
Yeah.
With like any form of media, not like I see everything, but like with music today, like Amigo album is gonna come out. Like I know what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like there'll be a couple where I'm like, oh okay, this is good, just because Migos are Migos. But just
I guess
general,
that's what happens when you're old.
you see everything.
You just see everything. You know every play in the book. Yeah, something might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
But then there's the same thing.
Yeah. I think it's possible, but nobody really has, not nobody, but it's hard to have that self-awareness. Like to know you're just acting like everyone wants you to act or how you've been acting. Like how many artists can say that? Like, oh, I saw what I've been doing. I need to be different. And even the ones who say that, they don't even change much. Like they notice and like they don't really do that huge step of being different. Kanye, but lately he's been a little bit kooky. Drake, just because he has to be the top, so he has to evolve. But he doesn't even evolve hard.
But the things that we think are evolving, people have already seen that before. Like, for example, Yeezus.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is something new. Kanye going like rocker, rage, emo, industrial. Oh, industrial's a thing. And then like you talk to a 40-year-old, like this guy's ripping off this. Like this already happened. It's just happening from him now. And then it's like that's why I think no matter what, you've already seen it.
And it's like a meet me halfway sort of thing. Like if you're gonna, like no matter what, you're gonna be copying something else because everything's been done.
Yes.
But like look back 30 years, copy that. Don't look back 5 years, copy that. I think that's a good medium for middle ground of evolving, but also staying the same. Because it's hard to make something new. That's like a breakthrough, which happens rarely. Like what artist has broken like the wave or made a new wave or changed it up for the better? You're gonna say Cardi?
No, well, that's one. If you look, like, I remember when Young Thug came out with the song "Lifestyle," and it was on the radio a lot. I remember, and everyone that all my friends, everyone that I hang out with was like, "You don't even know what he's saying," because there's like a part of the song where he goes, and I at that point already knew
how he
Thug, from his mixtapes.
Uh-huh.
So I was ready for this. Like this, is like the mainstream version of Thug going to mainstream. And I was like, how do you not like this? This is so different.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not realize what he's doing is like breaking all the rules?
Yeah.
So that's one artist.
Yeah.
And then before that, it was Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Because he did something similar where he would just mumble things in. But him mumbling then, compared to mumbling now, is like he's obviously like a poet laureate. Like he won the Nobel Prize.
Yeah.
But no, it's just the gradual
Decline.
of
Well, it's like
being
new
able
peak,
to.
go down. New peak, go down. You know?
How so?
Well, like Lil Wayne does it, the mumble thing, new.
Uh-huh.
Rapping, it's like the best thing ever. People copy, and it's just watered down like the telephone game.
Yeah.
It gets worse and worse and worse, and there's gonna be another.
No. I thought you were gonna say something different. So I thought you were saying someone does something, Lil Wayne,
Mm-hmm.
and for a while, like, no one really pays attention to it. But then Young Thug comes out, and there's a peak again.
Well, that's what I mean.
And then no one pays attention to it, or like no one's really doing it as good until someone does it differently. Playboy Cardi, and there's another peak. And by peak, I mean creative.
Yeah, like a new
thing.
Not like quality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's up to
Debate.
yeah. But I yeah, Drake will never do. He's done making anything groundbreaking. Just yet we have to be okay with.
Like eventually he's gonna like the most. It's like a saying, the most like dangerous animal is one that's like
Dead?
No, that has like nothing, no other option.
Yes.
Because they're gonna like lash out or whatever. Like if Drake's like on his last breath of decline in like 20 years or whatever, he's gonna release his 444, and like he'll have like his Rihanna confessions or something.
But see, that's not groundbreaking.
For Drake, it is.
For Drake, yeah. Well, if we're talking about like a singular
Yeah.
creative source,
But
yeah.
you want like another Lil Wayne that just.
Yeah, if I'm talking about Lil Wayne, or even Drake sort of was game breaking at that point, but he was from the Kanye mold of be honest. Emotional sensitivity.
Oh.
So yeah, there's gonna be something new, but it's gonna be something old,
I
technically.
think
Still,
Cardi's the last little sputter of Lil Wayne's.
could be.
It's like, what do you call it? Like telephone game again. Like he did something new. Everyone's doing it too, but it's just so rule breaking, but not in like the good way. Like, do you know?
Here we go.
Do you know like Blady and Echo 2K? Do you know who they are?
No.
They make like really noisy music, but not like Death Grips. Like, I don't know, like super loud poppy, but like
okay. Like distorted,
but like
feedback,
like starburst feeling, like
gotcha.
Sugary.
So like Meh by Playboy Cardi.
I don't remember it, but maybe
Meh.
maybe. And then their voices are really feminine.
So
that's like, maybe that's the new wave there, but it just sounds so soundy, like not as beautiful as like a piano going like you know?
Right.
And
do they ever have does it have emotional tones?
They do sometimes, but it's,
or is it always loud, like
it's not like screaming loud, but the beats are really like poppy, starbursty, sugary.
That sounds right up my alley. Is it hip hop?
No. Maybe like inspired by like what Cardi does, but it's closer to pop.
Gotcha.
But it doesn't sound good. Like, I don't think it's me being old. It's just, it's like noise. Like, you listen to a piano piece, and I think everyone would agree it sounds good. No one's gonna be like, that's trash. But maybe in like the 1500s, they're like, Beethoven sucks or something like that. But It's just weird. Like maybe that's another.
What's conditioning, right?
Or like you listen to it and then you eventually like it.
Yeah.
I guess, but
Or like if you grow up with this, was it Tony Oak? What'd you call him? I forgot what you call him.
Lady Echo 2K.
Echo 2K. Tony Oak. Echo 2K. If you grow up listening to him, maybe that kind of melody or that kind of noise sounds beautiful.
I don't know. You should listen to it.
Yeah, I need to listen to it.
I don't know. I just think it's going past like melodies and stuff like that and going into just
Noise.
straight up noise and sound and scraping. And that's like out of, it's not the point of music, or is it? I don't know.
Well, it is. It's because the point of art is to
Express yourself.
Doesn't mean it's gonna be the norm.
But I would think like you would want something that sounds like, wow, beauty, chef's kiss, magnifique, sort of thing, you know?
But I think that about certain songs that people wouldn't think is that.
Wait, say it again.
I think about songs like that
Uh-huh.
that other people would not think about songs.
But I think like I can listen to most music and I could be like, that sounds nice, even though I won't ever listen to it again because it's not like rap. It's not
Right.
the type of music I listen to. But I could say like, oh, that's good music. It's well made. Like they put thought, and they probably put thought into this music. But
This is your Playboy Cardi argument.
I mean, it works for everything, doesn't it? Oh yeah, putting like less than. But actually, Echo 2K and Lady, they put time into it. It feels like they.
But
put
it's
in the
just
work.
too brash.
Yeah, too scrapey.
I need to listen to it. I can't even imagine it now. I can't imagine like I'm thinking about like metal scraping on
Like sweet,
like the
sugary metal.
like the Super Mario the Rainbow Circuit on
Possible.
something like that.
Like I heard a song in it. I don't know if you could picture it, but it sounded like what hot girls listen to in bad movies.
Oh god, my brain just broke.
Maybe if you listen to it, you'll be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But that's what it feels like.
So all that to say is that there's cycles in everything, in any kind of creative aspect, but
Yeah.
when will cycles end and when they start is unpredictable.
No, I think it's predictable, but not by me.
By smart brains.
Yeah, you probably have to see like trends and statistics.
Well, this was very insightful. And right after this, we'll get into more insightful stuff, like the categories for high anxiety. Right after this short commercial break. It's category time for the movie High Anxiety. Ivan, this category, the best scene. This goes to the scene 5 or 10 minutes long. That was the best scene in the film. I'm going to give some out to you, and you let me know what you think.
Yep.
The airport scene in the very beginning.
I was going to say that.
Right off the bat, they're going with the heavy satire, giving you the quick cuts, the fast pace, the mean looks that you would get in a thriller like Hitchcock movie. So you get that all in the beginning. Plus, you get some goofy things. I love when the guy comes up to the doctor and he's like, "Come here, I need to talk to you." He's like, "Okay, what's it about?" And he goes to the bathroom and he exposes himself nude. It's just classic
So
comedy.
you like what you see? Like, what the? I thought you were official.
That's what he says, right? You like what you see?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh man. Another great scene. So there's a Nurse Diesel, and Dr. Montague. Both alumni alert, by the way.
Yep.
Dr. Montague was the guy in Blazing Saddles, who's the bad guy, and then Nurse Diesel was the bad person in the bad girl in Young Frankenstein. She played the lady that
Was she like the smoking lady?
She was the lady. She was the lady that's like, would you like any milk for tonight? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Would you like any rum? Oh, okay. Yeah, that was her. So when Nurse Diesel and Dr. Montague were getting their bondage on,
Mhm.
so Dr. Thorndyke, he hears something in the middle of the night. He goes to see if the nurse is okay. She's like, yeah, everything's okay. And lo and behold, she has Dr. Montague tied up and whipping him because he's been a bad boy.
Mhm.
I love that they went for that aspect in a 1977 film. Just to think that 3 years ago, 3 years before that film, they couldn't fart in a movie, but they're doing this.
It was probably crazy at the time seeing that, but I think like that scene would have is something that you could see easily today, and nobody like it'd be funny, but nobody would like. How could
Right.
they?
Right.
How dare they?
Dr. Thorndyke and Dr. Montague interview one of the patients.
Mm-hmm.
Thorndyke is hesitant to think that all the patients are really that crazy. And Montague's like, yeah, let's bring him on. Let's see what's wrong with him. And he's scared of werewolves. And he just pretends to be a werewolf. And it's just so stupid. But it's like, sometimes you just need to be stupid and be okay with it. And it'll be hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to show this movie to my fiance because she doesn't like dumb things. But I'll watch it and I'll laugh at it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I think honestly the scene that made me laugh a lot was when the bellman gets the newspaper
Oh yeah.
and they basically recreate the psycho scene. I just like it because it was like so exactly what happened
Mm-hmm.
and how crazy the bellman goes. Like, yes, I'll get your newspaper. Leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
And he finally goes crazy. I think that scene was really funny. Any scenes for you?
I was gonna say the airplane scene just because caught me off guard, like that quick.
The
Like,
nude guy. Yeah, the nude
Look
guy.
at this guy.
I do really like when Dr. Thorndyke gets framed at the hotel
Mm-hmm.
for shooting the man. Because I did for a second think like, why the hell did he shoot him?
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's revealed that he had a mask on and it wasn't him, and it was the classic like, ha ha ha, I'm not really Dr. Thorndyke, I'm this guy. I'm like, oh, that's so stupid, but it's funny.
It made me think like going back to what you said, but turning off your brain for certain movies or just changing how you think when you watch a movie.
Yeah.
I think some people would say that's like a criticism, like, oh, if you gotta think a different way when you watch a movie, then they're not doing it right.
Right.
But sometimes you just gotta like change how you watch it.
Yeah.
Like you can't watch every movie the same way.
And that's true. And to do that, you sort of have to know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
I think some of the films that I liked the least from other directors were films where I was expecting something else. Right?
See that? Yeah.
So maybe reading up on it, maybe reviews do help.
That's what trailers were for originally. But I think trailers today are a little too spoilery.
Yeah.
Maybe if you could watch like 15-second trailer or something.
Uh-huh.
But even then, like today, like I hear a movie comes out, I'll probably hear what it's about by word of mouth at least. Like just by reading random stuff like, oh, that's this movie. I see it somewhere else. And I don't know about spoiled, but I'll get like gist of a movie
Yeah.
by that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Trying to think of like movies. I do feel that trailers spoil movies, but I'm not sure if that's technically true.
What do you mean?
Like, I do feel it, but I don't know if I can prove that. Like, yeah, I saw this trailer and I got the whole movie.
Yeah.
Because they add things to it to make it, to throw you off.
Yeah. I think it just gives me too much information. Not like spoiler exactly.
Right.
Like I want more like a gist of what I'm getting into, not like these are the like you could see plot points in the. But I guess that's kind of hard.
It is. I think what it should try to do is build hype.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that? I don't know. I'm thinking about like Us, like
Hire us. Talk about a movie.
no, Us the movie, or even Get Out. Like it's easy to do something that can build up hype when it's that kind of film, but when it's a comedic film, I don't know. I guess it's sort of hard.
Maybe like a poster, and then like have actors talk about it, and then
Like
show a
Psycho.
clip.
Remember we were talking about like there wasn't some like you couldn't leave.
Oh,
What was it? What did Hitchcock do that like you can't come in halfway through the film?
yeah,
You have to be here in the beginning.
yeah. And that's just common courtesy at this point.
That's just good manners at that
Yeah.
point. I don't know.
I don't care that much, honestly.
That's a good response, Ivan. The Great Ape Award. This award goes to the actor director who at this point of the career has reached the pinnacle, who has reached the great ape status that you would only see in Dragon Ball when you finally reach the final transformation. Mel Brooks.
No. Well, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. As an actor?
Yeah.
Sure.
No.
I don't know.
No, I don't. Yeah. He might. I don't know. I think. For some reason, I really want to watch the history of the world.
Yeah.
Like that's been on my mind. I'm like, when am I gonna get to that?
Yeah.
I don't know why though.
I'm curious.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock. Is this the pinnacle of his career?
No.
Imagine.
That would be depressing.
Poor guy. Sorry, Hitchcock. I didn't mean to demean you that way. Satires.
No.
The Hyatt Regency Hotel. I really love that
You're-
hotel. Like, I really love
Your
it.
great aping locations?
Yeah.
I mean, sure. I don't know what other movie this.
I mean, if after watching this, I want to stay at the hotel. Just to look at, it has like a huge
Where's
front
it?
desk. San Francisco.
Let's go.
Scene stealer. This award goes to the actor or actress who was in this film less than 10 minutes but almost stole the movie. I'm going to give it to the bellman,
Oh, yeah.
Barry Levinson, who went on
He's
to
kind
have
of like a narrator of sorts.
How so?
He's always like in the back. Like at the start, he was saying like, "Oh, there's."
No. You're thinking about his chauffeur,
What'd you say?
Bellman,
What's that?
the guy that picked up his luggage at the hotel.
I don't remember him.
The one that stabbed him with the newspaper.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He stole the scene.
Okay.
He stole the movie.
All right. Don't yell at me.
I didn't like the Bellman. I
You-
got that. Pretending he can pick up everything.
Oh.
I don't got it. I'm like, all right, we got it after the third time he did it.
I think you're just a little peeved for no reason.
Gene Wilder, would he make this movie better if he was a doctor?
I think just because he's a better actor.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to argue that.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the part where, and this is the first time I actually enjoyed it in all of his films, where Mel Brooks breaks out into a song and sings High Anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there wasn't really anything funny about it, but it was something so charming.
Yeah.
And I still don't, I guess it's like his DNA of like being a
Musical person.
yeah, having that musical side to him, like
Yeah.
that he needs to do in every film. But it is extremely odd, isn't it?
He's yeah. Like you don't get that these days where someone has a talent so obvious that they put it in like their movie or their music, I guess, or their
But it's not
video
like
game.
he's like a singer.
No, he just loves musicals.
He loves to do this song and dance.
Yeah. Interesting.
Does Adam Sandler do that in his films? And
Song
he-
dance.
He even sings and makes like comedic albums where
Mel?
No, Adam Sandler.
What do you mean comedic?
Like he did a couple ones where he's like part of his like comedic shtick is that he sings on stage.
Oh, like you're talking about like a stand-up?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
but he doesn't do that in the films.
No, guess it's like I don't know. Just doesn't care that much. Like he thinks movies are one way. He thinks stand-up should be this way.
I guess that's my question. Like,
Mel's just a rarity.
but at that time it was normal, I would say. Like,
Well, you can kind of compare it to Taiki Waititi.
I
because-
thought you were saying something completely different, and I was like, "Oh, that's what he said." I thought you were gonna say like the techie aspect of like the world. I thought you were going like that
No.
way, but then you went Watiti. I was like, "Oh, that was jarring." Okay,
Like he really puts his comedy into the movie, even if it's not comedy. Like Thor 1 and 2 were a lot less funny than Thor 3. And that's because I think he values putting comedy so much into the movie. Because I felt like every other like story beat was him making something funny in some way. Whereas like any other director, it would probably be serious throughout the whole thing.
right.
Even like the Iron Man movies weren't as funny as Thor 3.
Right, they weren't. Nope.
They're funny, but not as big of a chunk of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the same thing. He puts a lot of like he values comedy a lot. He puts in the movie. He values musicals a lot. Puts in the movie.
When will we get like a musical Marvel movie? Then in that.
Probably soon, knowing like they're doing whatever now.
Okay, let's talk about that later. Because I actually have a point to there.
Today.
Ranking this movie. Let's rank this movie, Ivan. I already have what I think you're gonna give it.
Guess I gotta change it up, don't I?
I guess you do.
7.5.
I said you were gonna give it a 7.2.
You don't even know me.
I gave this movie an 8.
Fair.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had fun, and I didn't look back, except to write this out. So that means you have silent film at 6.5, 12 chairs at 7, high anxiety at 7.5, Young Frankenstein at 7.8, The Producers at 7.8, Blazing Saddles at 9. You love that ranking?
Yeah.
I like your 9 right there. It's like, yeah, like
It's
get
a
out the
statement.
way. I have 12 chairs at 6.8, silent movie at 7, high anxiety at 8, The Producers at 8.2, Young Frankenstein at 8.6. This is so stupid. I love how like I'm saying these scores like it's so matter of fact, right? And Blazing Saddles at 8.6. I love that I made those movies the same. I'm gonna say that. I love that I
You're
did
proud
that.
of yourself?
Yeah. All right, that was it about high anxiety. But Ivan, now after all that, it's time for a segment we like to call,
Things and such.
and we'll talk about that right after this break. Ivan, a couple things happened.
Go ahead.
They didn't really happen, but let's talk about one thing first. Godzilla vs Kong movie came out last week. You said you saw it last week, and we didn't talk about it. But I saw it the other day, Sunday. Easter
You tell
Sunday.
me what you think about it before I corrupt your mind.
I was like, I'm
You're
going
so
into this.
Stupid. Oh.
I'm going into this movie because I know it's doesn't really matter whatever happens in
Yeah.
it. And I was like, I think I already know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna fight and they're gonna team up to beat something else.
Yeah.
And I was right.
Yeah.
That being said, it was a fun, dumb movie.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
You're so stupid. I thought the same, but have you seen the other Godzilla?
I saw the others except for King of Monsters.
That one's better.
I saw half of King of Monsters.
That one's good. Well, not crazy good, but it's good. I like them, but they just make the people so stupid for no reason. Like, and evil in the worst ways. And each movie gets
Yeah.
worse. like they don't learn. And
Right.
I guess like that's the point. Like you're supposed to just enjoy it for what it is, but like you can still have a monster movie and have a well written people behind like the
Yeah.
scenes. But they're so like comically evil and like really Mecha Godzilla. Like you didn't think that would come back and bite you in the butt?
Wait, when did I realize it was Mecha Godzilla? I saw like
It was cool.
it was cool, but there's like a moment where I'm like, I realized that they're doing Mecha Godzilla before like they even show like the whole body or whatever, and I'm like, they're doing Mecha Godzilla. Like it's such a statement. It's a hyperbole. It's like we're already going crazy. Let's throw in Mecha Godzilla.
Mm-hmm. It was alright.
And
disappointed.
So you were disappointed?
Yeah, like I expected to be disappointed, and I was disappointed. So I was like successfully disappointed.
I was watching the movie with like a bunch of my fiance's family members, and they were talking throughout like all the talking parts.
Good.
And I was like, I should be mad at this, but I don't really care.
Yeah.
Cause like they're not saying anything worthwhile.
Like I really did not watch the talking parts because I knew it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And by the end, I knew what happened in the movie.
Yeah.
Because like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just it was weird when they went into the Hollow Earth part.
Yeah.
It felt a little too like unrealistic, even if it's monsters.
This is unrealistic.
But they had like really weird sci-fi flying ships, and then the axe for like who made that? Are they gonna say what, or is it just
It's his ancestors,
gonna
bro.
fit perfectly in there?
Yeah.
Like, can he make that too? Like, there's a lot of weird.
You
questions.
need a team of Godzillas to do that.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
I was sort of confused why he was so confrontational against Kong.
Yeah, I get like they're both kings, so they gotta fight.
Do they?
But they don't. I don't know. Like they should have fought at the end if they fought before. Like what? I don't think animals are capable of being like, yeah, you're all right.
Exactly.
It's like it's a lizard and a monkey. They're completely different species. Like they can't communicate like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay. So the Loki trailer came out.
The what?
Loki trailer?
Oh, I didn't watch it.
You have to watch it.
Saw a trailer before that.
The what?
Trailer before that.
Oh, the trailer was really good. It got me hyped.
I was gonna watch it either way, so I'm not. I'll just watch the show.
As far as what they're doing in the show, it looks like more actiony, and you have a good actor, a really good actor, so I think it's gonna go well. And I think it won't do anything game breaking like differently. And that sort of brings up my next point, which is we've talked about what we want Marvel to do, what we think they should do. But they're not doing and what they're doing now is technically like not too risque. Nothing too boundary pushing with obviously like WandaVision?
Yeah.
Was a little bit, and we'll see if upcoming things are more of it. But I do feel like they're not going to do it for a while. Not until they're able to make more of these more often. By these, I mean like shows and movies.
Okay.
So I see like the next 10 years being, a little bit different, but ultimately it's still going like mainstream.
Yeah.
Through like a through line. But not until that mainstream line is done will we get like what we want, which is like more director focused, character building.
You don't know what I want.
Ivan, go.
Because I don't care what they do anymore. In a good way.
Oh. And more of that when we come back.
News anchor. Like I care, but I kind of figured in my head. Like I already got Endgame and the Infinity War saga, and I'm pretty satisfied with that. Like the rest is just cherry on top. And so far, these two shows have been at worst good, right?
Yeah.
And if that's how it's gonna be, I'm just gonna be watching some good superhero movies till I die. You know?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cry about like what they should do.
Yeah.
Like some
But we have cried about it, especially with DC.
well, DC is a different story. Like I
But-
want them to get their footing for once.
Right.
But Marvel, like we had the Infinity War.
Right.
The rest is good. Now DC, let's get this together, please.
Get the balls rolling.
Yeah. But I've seen good DC announcements, and they're really cutting out everything Snyder was planning. So it's like, yes,
Get that fool
get
out of here.
him. But it's crazy how everyone loves like what Snyder was planning on doing and like the Snyder cut.
I don't think everyone loved it.
People love it.
I think there's people that loved it, but I don't think everyone really loved it.
I'm just glad it's over.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I think it's over. Yeah, I guess the reason I'm saying that is because I sort of feel like our expectations are that, or I thought it was, but I thought our expectations were not too high, but they weren't aligning with what they're doing right
I mean,
now.
I want what you said, but if they don't, I'll be like,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think we want that right now, but we're not gonna get that until like 10 years.
possible. I mean, what do you want? Like, what do you want? Like, an arc of? Because I've seen like the announced movies, and they have like Secret Wars. They have like a bunch of random. Like I saw like Armor Wars. I don't even know what that is, but it's a Marvel movie. Like, all right, they're making that. They have like Eternals, and I never got into it, but they have like Angelina Jolie on that.
Dude, I'm wondering if like, why would I want? Do you know Downton Abbey?
Yeah,
Like, why would I want that in a Marvel universe?
is that what you want? Like,
I sort of, it's not necessarily what I want, but it's like, there's something like that I want.
you want them to stray away from like this, like the action minor comedy of Marvel and do like a Mad Men 2-hour movie of like Logan or something, right?
If that is what I want, why would I want that when I can just have like something that's not set in the Marvel universe?
Right. I think
Like, why do I want yeah, exactly. Why do I want the X-Men version of Mad Men
right.
when I can just have
Mad Men.
Mad Men? Like, do I need to have it in that
That's true.
universe?
I think that's like a big conversation of like the fans and what they want. Like, do you actually want this, or do you just want to see like that one particular scene because it'll make you happy, or like is there
Right.
actual logic behind it?
And then to that point,
No, fact.
to that point, if that isn't what I want, is it possible? I think that's the feeling I'm getting. Okay, I think I solved it. I think I want the X-Men version of Mad Men
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like I can never get Mad Men again.
Rewatch Mad Men.
But I guess what I'm saying is like the only way I can get intricate content like that is if you put it in this world. Because that's
Oh, you don't
what,
think like another Mad Men will be created?
as an example, yeah. Because the studios don't allow it.
Possible.
Like maybe that's why I want this version of let me change it from Mad Men to the show. Why do I want the Black Panther version of The Wire set in Wakanda
Okay.
when I can
Watch The Wire.
yeah, why do I want it? Because I feel like you can't make that anymore. Like you have to put it in there. So as long as I know you don't have we can make it, I do do not want it in the Wakanda version.
Instantly lost me.
As long as I know that we can do it without Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
then yes, I don't need it in Marvel.
Right. I'm thinking like we already have Mad Men, and I'm pretty satisfied with the feelings I got from that show, like the character development and like learning lessons, like how you should react to this and then how you shouldn't.
Right.
Because that's like what Mad Men is.
Right.
I don't think I'd care if we ever get another one because Mad Men just like so perfectly did it. And, like you could get like every life lesson from Mad Men, like in some way.
Instead of talking to my son,
Watch Mad Men.
I'm not gonna talk to him about life at all. I'm just gonna say he's gonna have a problem. Like, I got something for you.
Episode 5, season 2.
Dad,
Pete
why is
Campbell.
why is this man cheating on his wife? Watch the episode, damn it.
You'll learn.
Understand what they're doing.
Exactly. But like, yeah, that's just how I feel. Like I already have it.
But yes, but you don't have something else. But you don't know what that something else is.
Well, then I would
and is the only way you can get that something else in Marvel or in DC land.
Then I would want like the next thing, which I don't know. Well, I would want like a good Batman, like where he solves crimes, like solves it.
Law and Order, Batman.
Well, they're making like the Gotham.
They're making that, but it's a piece of poop.
It's on HBO.
Oh,
No, I'm not talking about the
piece of poop.
CW one, the poopy one. I'm not talking about that. They're making.
Why do CW shows even exist?
For the girls. The girls love it.
It's the girls.
Yeah, but the HBO one has the dude from Westworld and Hunger Games as Gordon. He's a good actor, but it doesn't matter. But it looks legit, and it's HBO, so it has to be legit. And
True.
that's
Well, that's the thing. HBO is turning into a Netflixa, and just because they're trying to go content heavy, so
I think they can keep the quality.
Don't you hate when someone just like disagrees with you, but like doesn't even want to explain anything?
No.
It's so hard. It's so hard to keep the quality.
Like if they keep the studios, like they just had HBO and they had all their studios, right, making whatever they're making, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna get bigger, so they get the DC studios, and now they're already their studio, and now they have the DC studios. Like really, what's changed? They just
adding the
platform,
the horrible DC studios. DC studios were the same people that allowed CW to make all the.
Just like an example, but like their badness isn't gonna bleed into The Wire 2 or whatever they're gonna make.
That's true.
They're just gonna make whatever, and then that studio's gonna make whatever, and it's all gonna go to HBO Max. Like I don't see how it would affect it unless they're like, people don't want The Wire anymore. They don't want these kind of shows. They want The Flash, but ugly. Like I don't see that happening, because they want every demographic, right?
Yeah.
And if they stop making The Wire 2, they're gonna lose that.
X-Men should definitely be a show.
Yeah.
There's too many characters. Don't put it. We've seen the movies.
It'll be the perfect like show to have for Marvel.
Perfect.
And then they just do like the Avengers stuff as like the big ones in
theaters.
theaters.
They think that X-Men's gonna be like the flagship for the next verse.
Makes sense.
But I don't know if that can happen.
Why?
Because you have so many things like Panther, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man. Spider-Man can power a verse by himself.
But they're gonna age out. Like I think the Phase or the Infinity War people, they're on their way out in some way.
Yeah, they are.
Like Doctor Strange, I don't know if there'll be a 3.
Yeah.
But like Hulk, I mean, he could go on forever technically. Like Old Man Hulk, that'd be cool.
Just a beard.
But like X-Men just makes sense. Like we're done with Avengers, now it's time for X-Men.
Yeah.
And then maybe like have an Iceman movie for whatever reason, if they have like the idea for it. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Keep the original actors.
For what?
Don't yell at me.
For what?
X-Men.
James
McAvoy. Michael
I don't
Fassbender.
know. No.
What do you want? Another recast? They're already good.
So is it a continuation of that?
No.
I
Like-
watched what's it called?
Dark Phoenix?
No, the one before that. Apocalypse. I'm like, oh god.
It was sad.
Like Apocalypse, the guy that played him, he's what's his face?
Oscar
Isaac, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude.
He's so ugly. He doesn't even. Well, that's what happened to Darkseid too. Like it kind of looked like a parody of what he should have looked like.
It was so stupid.
Yep.
It was actually like a movie that I was entertained by,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, this is like a horrible way of doing it.
Because they're like just copying a Marvel movie.
Another news. Music. Actually, let's stick with movies. Space Jam trailer came out. LeBron James.
It's gonna be bad.
You think it's gonna be bad?
Yeah.
They're copying the Ready Player One aesthetic with where they grab all the characters from
like
Warner
it.
Brothers.
I feel like they didn't catch the magic, at least from the trailer.
Oof.
Because like when they're on the court, they had like power ups and stuff. But in the original movie, like Michael turned into a toon, like he stretched his arm, right?
Yeah.
I like that sort of magic than like boost.
Right.
Because Looney Tunes aren't about boosting; they're about like being silly, stretchy, and like splattery. You know?
Yeah. Being silly.
Yeah. So it feels like
Gamified.
yeah, like it doesn't feel like it has the original heart.
Definitely doesn't have the original heart because this one's like they spent good money on this.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Honestly, I'm not that excited for it, but when it comes out, I'm gonna watch it.
I was excited before the trailer, and then watched it. I was like, I don't know. I'll watch it, but begrudgingly,
And then love it.
possibly.
Music. Anything?
Nothing good.
Lil TJ came out.
Whom?
He's not that bad.
Lil
Lil TJ.
baby, Lil Wayne,
Oh, here he
Lil
goes.
TJ, Lil Dirk. Like,
I know, but you know Lil TJ, right?
not personally, but
Well,
why do you want to talk to him? No, I know the name. I don't know. Maybe I know a hit.
he's like he's a more polished a boogie. Boogie.
I hate a boogie
Why?
because he's corny feeling.
He is.
Yeah,
Why?
he just feels like a nerd.
But he's actually a thug.
I don't feel it.
You gotta sound a little thugger more.
A little bit.
I just think I don't know. Obviously, it's nothing.
No.
I get you, Ivan. I get you.
Rubbing off on you, aren't I?
I do want to say one theory that made me think. You know how Atlanta's it right now,
Okay.
like the spot,
Yeah.
and the artists are all coming from there, right? There was a theory that I heard on Joe Budden podcast where he was saying the reason why Atlanta is the cultural zeitgeist for hip hop, but more specifically gangster hip hop, is because of the lax laws, the lack of laws, I should say, on guns.
Right.
Because since New York has strict gun control, and Atlanta doesn't, then you can be a gangster, carry guns, and make music. Where if you're a gangster in New York, it's only a matter of time until you get cocked. What?
You can only carry like a knife.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time before you get caught.
Mm-hmm.
So the proliferation of artists in
Mhm.
Atlanta that are gangsters is going to be much greater than the ones in New York. And I was
Yeah.
like, wow, that's a crazy reason why it's one of the reasons why it grew so big there.
Also, like, artistry comes from like trauma or like, what do you call it?
Uh-huh.
Like suffering.
Yes.
And then if they're all shooting guns, their friends are dying. Like, that's a hit song right there.
Oh god. Oh my
Like,
god.
it's true.
Yes, it is.
So like all those suffering artists coming out of Atlanta. That's like oh, you're a hit song now. Like, you look at your dying friend.
Dang, you're going for the
but
blending
that
of
makes sense.
yes.
So I don't know, like, what other place is suffering? Maybe that's like the next wave. Like, once this wave is done, like, what other state is truly suffering, or city is that's going to be the new hit?
Well, yeah, because you look at Chicago and they had their time when they were suffering, and they're still suffering. So that sort of goes against, like, it's not just the gun law; it's also the amount of talent that's actually trying to make something new. And then Miami, or at least Florida, had like a little stint with Lil Pump, Smoke, what's his name that passed away? X, Denzel Curry. It's sort of, but it's crazy that how much I do think that I don't know if it's more or less now than before, basically.
What?
Like the thugness of music, the realness.
You should watch The Wire. This is well, like,
you can't use more than 2 in a podcast, okay? You've already done that once.
well, like in The Wire, there's like a cycle. Like, the top guys are on top, they're top for a while, and then suddenly, like, a new guy comes up, but he like shakes it up and does it a little less professionally.
Yeah.
And he like kills a little more indiscriminately.
Yep.
So it kind of, going back to like Lil Wayne, like, they do it first and then it kind of goes back and
It's sort of like I look at 21 Savage as a prime example of how you can be so street, but if you survive long enough, you're going to want to get out.
Yeah. Well, like, a lot of not a lot, but there's been a handful of rappers that died recently because of their gang stuff.
Yep.
And they could have got out.
Yep.
But they're so in their ways that they can't really think of another way of life. Like, imagine them trying to go to a suburb and then be like interrelate with everyone.
I think what holds a lot of these, like, literally a lot of millionaire artists like Lil Durk and someone like Kodak Black, like, what holds them back is not, it's themselves ultimately, but it's the people that they don't want to say no to
Around them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they probably said, when I get popular, I'm not going to leave you behind.
And like,
and they're like,
said that.
their number one thing is like being a man of their word.
Uh-huh.
And that's ultimately what holds them back.
Should bring everyone up with them.
And then, but I think this goes back to like what Jay-Z's experienced already, where he was like, there's so many people that I wanted to bring up, but none of them wanted to.
Right.
Like, they were mentally incapable of doing it, of letting go of the street.
Yeah.
So they criticize him for letting them go, but it's not like he didn't try. It's like, ultimately, you're going to become the enemy.
There's this comic I've seen where it's like a caterpillar and a butterfly talking to each other.
Uh-huh.
And the caterpillar says to the butterfly, like, you've changed. And the butterfly says, you're supposed to. It's like a joke. It's like,
let's go.
Like, okay.
Let's go.
But it's funny because it's like, it's true.
Yeah.
But it's corny.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is. Like, you can't just be stuck or else you'll get stuck. Wow. Look at that.
Synergy.
Wow.
I think
I have a prediction.
go.
Oh.
No, I don't have a good thought. Go.
I think whatever the next wave of music will be, whatever genre, it's gonna be about like real like mental illness, not like my friend died, but like because I was in Winter Soldier when they're doing like the therapy stuff. Like,
Oh, so you're watching it now?
I saw one episode a
Oh.
while ago when it came out. But same with WandaVision, they had a lot of trauma stuff, which hasn't really been a thing in movies or anything ever until recently, and it feels like that's going to be the trend now, where it's going to be just dealing with trauma.
So you think we're gonna get? You think we're so dark right now that we're gonna go light? We're gonna get J. Cole.
I predict like a flip of being like, hey, we're suffering.
There has to be a flip, right?
Like in 5 years, I think there's going to be a flip. Because I think like America's at its lowest. Not like, because obviously like slavery and stuff like that. But
that was a bad thing, Evan. That happened.
But like modern America is like at the point I feel where like they're starting to realize we're all like messed up and we're not as good as like the leading countries in the world.
I do think that, and I do. All signs point to that.
Yeah.
That a flip is coming.
Like I think Donald Trump. Not to get political,
Yeah,
but like that's like the
our savior. He had to bring our savior's name up.
in a way. He's like the peak of like, yeah, this is how bad it's gotten, and we're all like, yeah, we suck. 'Cause I want to move to Canada. This place sucks.
Come
I
on.
want to go to the Six, chat up with Drake, talk road bad things.
You did not just do that.
I did.
Roadman. What's a roadman?
I feel like it's
Like a homeboy?
I think it's like a gangster, but not like specifically gang affiliated. Just
Like thug.
yeah, thuggish.
Roadman things.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, people. This was Peliculas with the Bros. We'll be back next week with another episode of Peliculas with the Bros. Please hit that subscribe button if you can. We appreciate your consent to watch this with your eyes and to listen to it with your ears. We'll be back next week with another movie for Mel Brooks. I don't know what movie that is. Do you know?
Nope.
We don't know. We'll be back next week. Peace out. Bye-bye.
Bye.